Captain Vance Orrell watched the blue glow of the grav ring stacks fade behind them as the EECV First Light slipped into GMWI Tier 4. Ahead lay the uncharted system of Asteris V, and with it a mystery that might finally give humanity a foothold or seal its doom. The First Light dropped out of Tier 4 after a 4.3 light-year leg from Earth, arriving at the outer reaches of the Asteris system. First Officer Rhett Colwyn reported the three-planet set with an unusual signature, a beacon-type electromagnetic pulse locked in synchronous rhythm. The beacon sat orbiting the outermost world, Asteris V, a cold ice giant with one moon, Valion. The signal repeated every 17.3 minutes with a pattern that suggested artificial origin. Security Chief Keir Maddox ran sensor sweeps. The beacon emitted no life signs, but the moon Valion showed subsurface motion, geothermal vents under a frozen crust. Chief Engineer Malik Doran proposed using a probe, but IVO, Comms Officer Ivy Saren, flagged the risk. Unknown biosphere, no replicators, caution required. They agreed to deploy a remote sensor sphere rather than land immediately. Inside the moon's subsurface ocean, the sensor found structures, towering crystalline spires bathed in bioluminescent currents, arranged in radial patterns around a central hub. The beacon orbiting the planet seemed to be drawing power from the moon's geology via implants embedded in the ice crust. Captain Orrell ordered the First Light into orbit of Valion for observation. The view? Azure currents visible beneath churning fractures, the beacon's faint glow turning the moon's night side into a halo. The mystery deepened. Why had an unknown intelligence built such infrastructure in isolation? Pilot Talon Jesk cheekily challenged Rhett to a flight through the rings of Asteris V if the mystery turned sour, a needed jolt of levity. Rhett accepted. The banter allowed the crew a moment to breathe before the risk. The probe entered Valion's icy crust and slipped into the ocean tunnel. Malik initiated hull-mounted sensors on the First Light to mirror the probe's feed. What the crew saw stunned them. A vast, cathedral-like formation of crystalline towers pulsing in rhythm with the beacon's orbit. Countless slender spires stretched from the seafloor up, seemingly structural and bio-integrated. Then life, not humanoid, but a vast network of translucent frond-shaped entities drifting in the currents. They appeared symbiotic. The crystalline towers seemed grown by them, amplified by them, energized by the moon's deep core heat. Comms Officer Saren picked up the rhythmic emission. The beacon signal matched the natural rhythm of the life forms, amplified to space. The moon itself had become a lighthouse. Security Chief Maddox calculated, if the Asteris life form is intelligent, the beacon might mark their territory or call for aid. The crew could attempt first contact, but directive absent for entirely alien biosphere with unknown tech. Captain Orrell convened the bridge. Rhett urged exploration. Maddox warned of a purge doctrine waiting somewhere in the void. Malik proposed a stublink extraction. Retrieve a small crystal fragment for analysis before direct contact. They filtered the probe's footage. One crystalline tower shifted in reaction to the probe's approach. The rhythm faltered, glowed brighter. Suddenly, the beacon ramped in intensity and the sea tunnel trembled. The moon's ice cracked. The life forms formed a swirling corona around the tower. A shimmering dome of biocrystalline energy expanded upward. The First Light sensors warned, destabilization ahead. Captain Orrell gave the order, abort extraction, retreat probe. But Maddox reported already the beacon frequency doubled. The spotlight in space locked onto the First Light. It was no longer a passive lighthouse. It was a targeting system. As the First Light backed away, the beacon's field intensified, shimmering into a slender beam directed at the ship. The ring stacks pulsed in alarm. Malik engaged emergency warp shutdown and fired pulse thrusters to drift clear. Rhett executed a wild maneuver through V's polar ring. Talon pinned the ship through the arc. The tension soared. Meanwhile, the ice moon Valion's surface fissured, torrents of water venting into space. The crystalline towers shattered like glass, the life forms rising in the plume. Radiant arcs of energy converged toward the First Light. Inside the ship, lights flickered, the GMWI core shuddered. Orrell ordered, full reverse to Tier 3 exit. The ship dropped out of Tier 4, but not enough. The beacon beam hit the ship's hull. Maddox reported a fissure in the dorsal plating, emergency bulk seal engaged. But then, something astonishing. The beam reversed. Instead of destruction, it seemed to funnel energy back to Valion. The moon's towers relit briefly, then powered down. The beam winked out. The First Light emerged from the system's gravity field, limping but intact. In the debrief, Orrell sat with Saren, Doran, and Maddox. They concluded the beacon was not a kill signal, but a collection device, collecting life energy or data from the moon's biosphere and directing it outward, perhaps as a message or a seed. The moon's intelligence had recognized the arrival and adjusted. The confrontation, thank God, ended peacefully. Rhett, Talon, and the bridge crew exhaled relief, shared a laugh about the wild polar run. Talon shouted, "Next time, I pick the rings." Rhett just smiled. Orrell recorded the entry in the directive log. Clause 4.3. Any non-humanoid biosphere that demonstrates emergent infrastructure and external signaling shall be classified as sentient substrate until further evidence. Dissenting view by Maddox. We retained minimal engagement, but we would be defenseless if this was hostile intelligence. Orrell noted, agreed. We will reassess if we encounter anything like this again. Finally, Orrell ordered, set course for our next leg, 5.1 light-years ahead to segment Theta Vega. Let's hope for simpler. The crew braced for the unknown.